details why you have to choose certain strokes and how it will affect your work and so on. So that's why I think before we go any further in details, what is your vision? What exactly is the stroke of the machine, of the PMU machine?
Actually, I was trying to think about how can I explain this easy. So this idea came to my mind. And so I have two items here. I have this guy and this one.
Uh-huh.
So what I want to show you is, so imagine the stroke is how the needle moves inside the housing of the cartridge. So imagine this is a long stroke, right? So we have a longer space and the needle is here. So you have more space to bounce the needle into the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So when is this good to use? Well, it's really good when you want to pack lines because it's going to be a harder hit in the skin. And so your implantation is going to be very precise. Now, if we talk about short stroke, I'm just going to flip this. And so now the space is more compromised. Just think about like the needle has less space to move. It's not as long as the other one. And so it hits the skin different. And there's going to be different factors that it's going to affect this, because not just the strength of the needle, right? But how quick it's going to be. Because if you have a smaller space here, then the needle is probably going to reciprocate a little faster than a longer stroke, right? It has more time to move. So think about it when you are working, say, with hair strokes. You have to have a very good vision about how much pigment you want to implant into the skin, because if you want to pack a lot of color, then you probably want to go a little faster if you're working with a good skin, right? So if you're working with a mature skin that is more delicate, you want to go a little slower. So you have to adjust. There's always things to adjust. It's not like you grab one machine and then it's you go to for everything. You have to adjust your pressure, your speed on your machine, your hand speed. You have to think about the length of the machine. So that's kind of like I don't know, my idea and how to explain. I hope that makes sense. So leave a comment here and tell me if that makes sense to you.
It's
But
perfect explanation. Wow, it's really perfect explanation of the stroke, and that's wonderful. I'm going to cut it out and I'm going to post it as a normal reel because this is incredible. It's a great explanation. Thank you. You always come up with wonderful ideas to explain it.
I just try to like make it like visual because I'm a visual learner. So I
Yeah.
like to see, because that's how I can recreate it when when I go through my planning process of doing permanent makeup. I think, okay, so this is how it's going to work. So then I need this cartridge, I need this machine, I need this speed to achieve this goal.
Yeah. And we already have a question. Does one last longer than the other? Thank you for the question.
Yes, hot dogla. Hot dogla.
Hadogla. I'm sorry for our pronunciation.
So, what do you mean? Can you be specific about when you said last longer, you meaning the machine?
I
Or
believe probably if you use a bigger stroke, I think what she means is the permanent makeup in general lasts longer because you kind of pack more colors. I think this was the question is about.
well, if you're referring to permanent makeup, like how long the pigment is going to last in the skin, it really varies from different factors. Like it's going to depend on what kind of pigment are you using. If you're using organic, if you're using more dense pigments, if you pack so much color, depending on what are you doing. Because, for example, if you have a short stroke, right? So we talk limited space, not a lot of strength to hit the skin, and you want to do like a soft shading, then if you're achieving that, then you're not packing a lot of color. So it's going to be just less color compared to, I don't know, maybe a powder brow that you want more intense and you put more pigment. So they're both going to last different. Also, it matters like the client, like how much sun exposure they have, how much medications they take, age,
Yeah.
if they do facials, lasers, things like that.
But
So
for example, I'm also curious about that. If we compare two same clients with the same normal average skin, let's say with normal average, and we have one you use 3.5 stroke length, on another one you use 2.0 stroke length for the same technique. Is it mean that one with 3.5 will last longer because you put more color in it, or not necessary?
I don't think so. I don't think that's not a factor that is going to impact the lasting of the pigment in the skin. Like I said, I think there are more other factors that determine that, but not the length of the machine, in my opinion. I feel like obviously, if you are not very experienced with permanent makeup, I don't recommend to use a long stroke right away. Just start with a small or a medium tape. Sorry, stroke, not taper. Taper is another topic for cartridges and needles. But yes, so medium and short, I think those are your best bet when you start with permanent makeup. But I would highly recommend to have the 3 different lengths because you're going to use for different purposes. You're not going to use the same machine that you use for eyeliner, or you're not going to use the same machine that you use for lips with older skin, for example. You know, once you get very knowledgeable and experienced, I'm saying maybe over 3 years of doing almost daily permanent makeup, then you will consider yourself with a lot of knowledge, and you will be more aware of what you do and how you use the machine, because then there's another factors like your pressure, if you're light-handed, if you're heavy-handed. So things like that matter in order to grab a long stroke machine. And target if you want to get puffy hair strokes versus to a very a lot of pigment or very bold hair strokes. So it really varies on what are you trying to achieve.
Yeah. And thank you so much for the question, and you're welcome for answer. And Mahnas, unfortunately, I cannot translate your question. It's, I believe, in Iranian or Arabic, and it doesn't let me translate it. So please, if you can send it in English, it would be great. But, moving forward to talk about more organized about this subject. So why do you think it's so important to understand your strokes length when choosing a machine?
Well, when you understand the strength of your machine, you're going to understand what is the machine good for. So maybe you have, for example, I just want to show you, this is a short stroke. This is a H1. And I don't know if you're able to hear this.
Yes.
Okay. So compare that to a long stroke machine. This is the H3.
Mm-hmm.
So they have different power. So when you understand what machine are you using, you are going to be more selective with what type of work are you going to do and what type of skin are you working with. Because, for example, if you do lips, you are not going to use the same techniques, machines, and cartridges for somebody who is say 70 years old and you're going to do maybe lip blush. You're not going to target the same if you have a 23-year-old girl with thick, full lips. You can't use the same machine.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, what I would do is I would use my H1, which is super light and super gentle, with my older client, and then I will use my either H2, because I have them all, H2 or H3, depending on the stroke, because they come in different strokes, and I'm going to go a little bit more about it later, for the younger girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about lips. Also, for example, if you have fillers, it's different how you manipulate your technique with lips compared to somebody who's older and they have very thin lips. You have to be more cautious, more gentle. So you have to adjust many things.
Mhm. And what kind of results can artists expect if we're using the wrong stroke length on a certain procedure or skin type?
Well, you get more traumatized. Like if talking about lips again, say I use my long stroke with my older client and she has very thin lips, no fillers, just natural lips. But older skin tend to get thinner over time. So you know for sure if it's your older client, she's going to have thinner skin on the lips. So for example, if you use a long stroke, you're probably going to cause some bruising. You probably won't have enough control of the needle depth, and you're going to cause more trauma. And this is the rule with permanent makeup: is the more trauma you cause, the more is going to affect the healing process and the heal results. So less trauma, better results on your heal work, which is what matters the most. It's not how they look right after only, but how they're going to look when they're completely healed.
Or as well, if we are talking about the hair strokes, if you use a long stroke length, like let's say if you use 3.5 for the hair stroke, does that mean also you won't be able to achieve the crisp hair stroke? Or am I right in thinking that?
So I prefer long strokes for hair strokes. I
Mhm.
feel like because you can pack more color faster and you can have a bolder lines and you can control the ends of the hair stroke to make it puffy and soft.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's another topic for another live. But yeah, so I prefer a longer stroke. I know there's a lot of people in my industry, colleagues that they work with all types of like stroke machines. It's really like comes down to the artist. Like, how is your technique? How is your hand? Are
So I
you
assume you
pressing too
have to be
hard?
quite light-handed to work with a long stroke machine, because if you're very heavy-handed and you have a strong, powerful machine, then you're obviously going to work hard and traumatize the skin more and put more pigment than you probably want.
Yes, absolutely. Also, like a very good thing to do is like when you're working with a long stroke machine and it's very powerful, like the H3, like always start like Coco Chanel used to say, less is more. Same thing with the machine. Less speed, less pressure, and just be very gentle in the beginning until you see that you're implanting in the right layer and you're achieving the color that you want to achieve. Maybe you can start going up with speed, but I don't like to go full speed never with a long stroke machine because it's already powerful. So if I use a lot of these, so this is what's going to happen. So you have your long stroke and then you have these. And if say your medium speed goes like this, right?
Mhm.
But if you go fast, you go like this. So you're injecting a ton and you're puncturing the skin because you're using a cartridge. And sometimes you can use a single needle. Sometimes you can use three points in the cartridge. So you're puncturing, you can cause a lot of damage in the skin. So if you're not very like knowledgeable, don't attempt to use a long stroke right away. Just get your short and or medium, and then once you feel like I know what's going on, I know what I'm doing, then attempt to use a longer stroke.
Wow, it's a great explanation. And how do you adjust the pressure or speed based on the stroke length? Like any tips for the new artist?
So you know what? Repeat the question for me because you were saying it and I'm thinking what I'm gonna say and I don't think
Yeah,
it's what
no
you
problem.
asked.
So, how do you adjust the pressure or speed based on the stroke length? So it's basically like a tip, especially for the newer artists, like because obviously you do have to adjust the pressure and use a different pressure based on your machine.
Well, first of all, don't press too hard. I will practice on a latex pad first and see how deep I'm going with the needle. Also understand your cartridge because we talked about this in previous lives about the tapers and the length of the needle. So also like the stroke of the machine can determine the how deep or how much the needle protrudes out of the housing. So, and what I mean by that is like, I don't know if I do have a permanent makeup, but I do have a cartridge here with the amiea microneedling. So when I say protruding, it's like how much the needle is going to come out of the housing. So when you have a longer stroke, you have more opportunities to get the needle out a little more than if you have a shorter stroke. But how do you adjust it? So when you put the cartridge into your machine, say we're going to put these. Oh, I don't know how to explain this with this cartridge, but basically when you turn your machine, I'm going to turn it right now. There. I think, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to see these, but this machine, you can turn to the right and the needle is going to come out more. If you turn to the left, the needle is going to retract. So I always think like for permanent makeup, you always have to have your needle inside the skin 0.5 millimeters. I wouldn't go deeper than that. And also, you don't want the needle to hang too long, because there's different things that you can experience, like some scenarios, for example, when the needle hangs out too much outside the plastic, the housing, the needle has more space and it doesn't implant much pigment. When you have it in the right place, it has the opportunity to grab the pigment right and implant correctly in the skin. If it's too inside of the plastic, again, like if the needle is too short, you won't have this ability to have your calculations for 0.5 millimeters in the skin. So it's important to have a sweet spot where you can actually see the tip of your needle enough, plus another 0.5 millimeters out or besides the tip. You can actually see what your needle is doing, because otherwise the plastic is going to touch the skin and it's going to drag pigment. So you won't have this ability, you won't know what's going on, you have to clean more and then you have to irritate the skin more. So you really want to have the needle in the right spot where you can see and you can actually implant clean pigment and see exactly what your needle is doing.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. Yes, you did. It's a great explanation, actually. Yeah, because this can be applied to any stroke length. And just out of thinking, is ever you had to combine different stroke length in one session? Is there a situation when it's needed?
Yes, there's many situations when it's needed. It's not like the typical scenario, but for example, eyeliner. So when I work with eyeliner and I work within the lash line, that it's a very thick skin. It's kind of like rubbery skin. I prefer to use a long stroke with a large cartridge. For example, Magnum 7, 9, and fill that in quickly. So I know the machine is stronger, so it's going to be able to penetrate thicker skin, because this is super thick.
Yeah.
I mean, not super thick, but compared to the eyelid, which is the thinnest skin in the body, when you think about it, that's crazy. But you don't want to use that on the eyelid skin, which is, again, super thin and delicate. So I would use my long stroke with a large machine, pack some color there in that lash line, get it like super full, and your clients are going to love you because it's going to give you the look like they have fuller lashes. And then if you do a classic eyeliner, then I will use my H1.
Mm-hmm.
For the
H1,
very,
just to clarify, it's 2.0 stroke length. H3 is 3.5.
yes. So basically, like, for example, if you have the H1 is 2.0, then the H3 can be, no, I'm sorry. Well, let's go with the H2. The H2 is at 3.5. So we're going from 2 to 3.5. And then, but we're talking about H1, H2, H3. The H3 comes in two configurations. You can do a 3.0 or you can do a 3.5.
2.5.
So, yes, I'm sorry, 2.5. So these can be in the middle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And there's another machines that we carry in amiea, like the Genius is 1.5. Then the Sapphire, I believe, is 1.5 too.
Yeah, we also have them
Then
like the needling machine and Vital and Amiea Vital for the scalp.
and then the Supreme is 2.0. And then the H3, like I said, 3.0, 2.5. So it's really like there's an arsenal of options that you
Yeah.
can choose from. Um, but yeah, you have to think about like having options with all the tools that you're using, because every client is different. One
Yeah.
day or even the same day, you can have completely three different skin types and thickness of the skin and techniques that you're going to do. So you really want to have it all. And as
Yeah.
long as you have all the tools, you're going to be in a good space. You're not
Yeah.
going to be stressed
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's great to have a great selection of tools. And I think I know your favorite is a long stroke, it's 3.5. It's just because obviously you are pro at that. But just, if we try to break down into, let's say we just take 2, 2.5, 3.0, and 3.5. So 2.0 stroke length, it's like soft and precise, which from what I understand, it's make it ideal for delicate procedures like eyelids and possibly lid blush and so on. But in your opinion, if you summarize, when do you have to go for 2.0 stroke length machine? What is it perfect for?
I think it's perfect for soft shading. Like if you want to do a classic eyeliner and it's soft and you don't want to really pack much and it's a very delicate skin, 2.0 is the way to go. So 2.0 is like soft shading, either for lips, eyeliner, even eyebrows. Then
And eyebrows, when you say it's probably also going to be a very soft hair stroke, which is more going to be like a shaded hair stroke effect.
yes, definitely. And then if you do medium stroke, which could be 2.5 to say 3, because I mean, we do have 3.5, but there's others machines that they carry 4.5. So,
Mhm.
I mean, in the market, it's available, especially if you use a tattoo machine. So, I mean, there's different lengths, but medium, I'm just going to say medium stroke is good for packing color, for intense powder brows, you want sharp edges, you want pack eyeliner, very like dense lip color. And then the long stroke is really good for hair strokes. For hair strokes, I really use it for everything. But again, I've been doing permanent makeup for almost 9 years. So, and I've been doing hair strokes for 8. So I do have quite a bit of experience, and I know how to move around it with what I am doing, because it's what you do as an artist, plus the tools. How are you using the tools? Because the tool doesn't move by itself. It's moved by the artist. So we determine what's going to happen with that. So I really like the long stroke for a lot of stuff, like powder brows, when I want to do like pixelated powder brows. Um, but yeah, if you're a beginner and you want to stay there, I would say have those options with you, like short stroke, medium stroke, and then move forward to longer stroke later. Also, I mean, I feel like when you're doing nano strokes, like you're advanced. I mean, because it's hard to do. It's not you know, when you're there, you're good. You are. So for the most part. But
And
yeah.
if you're a beginner and you just start attempting to do the hair strokes, and we're talking about more or less normal skin, not any extreme cases, which stroke length would you recommend in this case?
I would say short tape, medium tape.
Like 2,
I've seen,
2.5.
yes, I've seen colleagues working beautiful hair strokes with machines that are gentle. And so I would say this is a very safe zone to be.
Yeah.
And then later on, if you want to be more adventurous, then go for a longer stroke.
Mhm. And also what I wanted to ask you, I know you work with 3.5 stroke length, you had a big experience in that, but still, if someone is wanted to move to more powerful machine because they could feel that it's benefit to them, but many are scared of having a trauma. So how would you manage that, with such a powerful stroke length to avoid the trauma and better healing?
I will practice first on latex pads, use fruit. I mean, you can use bananas, you can use oranges for thicker skin, you can work with apples, literally, and just practice because that's going to give you a very good idea where are you at with your pressure and what happens. Just experiment. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Just like experiment. What happens if I go deep? What happens if I push a little like less? And what happens if I stay with the needle in a section for a longer time than the other? So be curious because that's going to give you information.
Yeah.
You're going to learn. You're going to learn not just permanent makeup, but you're going to learn a lot like from yourself. Like what do you do? Where do you tend to go as an artist? I know for myself or about myself when I first started was that I always get frustrated with a slow machine or a gentle machine. So I never really prefer them. So I was like practicing until I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Do you find healing is also dependent on how the client treats at home during healing? I really think at this point it's not crucial how they treat the brows. It's your work really like what matters. Um, I would say it will only impact the healing when they're like wild, like they go into the ocean the same day they got the brows done. They could get infected, and then everything is gonna going down to trash. So I think it really comes down to your work. Are you implanting in the right layer? Are you stretching really well? Are you injecting the amount of pigment that you want? Because sometimes we think, I think that looks good. But then if you really look close, and I will highly recommend, even if you have good vision, just magnifier lenses. Even at the end, just like you can take a picture with a magnifier um, glass, or you can use magnifier glasses and look really like you really want to look forward to a lot of pigment implanted in the same layer and it's even. If it's not even, your heal results they will be trash. Doesn't matter if your client follow to the T all instructions, they're not gonna heal well. So I think like you really need to know what you're looking for. So and if you're not, definitely again practice, take another class. I am so pro to continuous education. If you go and take a class, it's not going to make you less knowledgeable. It's not going to make you look ignorant. It's actually, you always going to learn something. Always. Even like from the people that you don't expect it, like you will always learn something. So take more training, figure out like what exactly should I be looking for to see before telling my client, you're good to go. I'm done.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't reach out to me, I'll help you. But I think it's all about like, I would say 90% is about the technician's work and 10% is the healing.
Yeah.
aftercare.
It's good and honest. I like this answer. Yeah, because it was a time when everyone was improvising so much about healing, dry healing, wet healing, using cream, don't use cream. It was like so much going on about that that I also think it's like, and some artists just say, oh, it doesn't matter as long as you don't scratch them and go to sauna and ocean. Like you can do dry, you can put some, if it's work done well and there's no much trauma and no much scabbing, then it doesn't make much difference. But of course, if you went too deep, you have a big scalp, then obviously, yeah, you have to take care of that a little bit more. Oh, Dolga, thank you so
Awesome.
much. Says thank you for being so generous with your knowledge. Yes, Cecilia is like that. Yeah, she's very generous, and we have so more material, more lives posted on our YouTube channel, so you can rewatch. We spoke about last time it was papers, and we speak about many other things. It's all on our YouTube. It's absolutely free to watch, so please do that.
Oh yeah,
And
we
you
do
know,
actually. There's a video with hair strokes, and I was doing on a.
yeah,
It was last year, so if you
yeah.
scroll down, you'll find that live because I did a demo and what to look
On the
for and
latex, actually,
what
yes, so it's a
happened.
really good explanation. And just to wrap it up, because not everyone can afford or have many different stroke length machines, but just if we would think about the flexibility, which stroke length you would go for if you could only have one to kind of make it as more for pretty much for all procedures, if it's possible.
I would say a medium stroke, like 2.5, 3. I would say there. I think that's a good range. I feel like you said, it's like the sweet spot where you can
Yeah.
actually do both because you can adjust, again, the speed, right? So if you don't want to damage the skin, just take your speed down a little bit in your machine and then watch how much are you pressing with your machine. But I would say 2.5 to 3 is good. I don't think there's 3.5 anything to be afraid of. Again, I mean, there's actually higher strokes in the tattoo world. So it's not like, oh my gosh, this is a Ferrari and I'm going to take it and smash it. No, no. But again, I mean, if you practice, if you kind of hang with your machine for a while, experiment, try different textures, different latex pads, and see what's going on, you're gonna feel more confident, and you're gonna
Yes.
know like what to do.
Oh, it's a perfect advice. Oh, thank you so much for your time. Again, so much knowledge. I'm also myself learning with you. I always find it very, it's like I have a personal also no like a personal class as well. So thank you so much for your
You're
time, for
so
your
sweet.
knowledge. And thank you for everyone who supported it, for your hearts and fires. I see it all. I'm ever so grateful. Everything will be saved. Do not worry. It will be saved on our feed and on YouTube. And if you have more questions, just drop it. Just, comment under this live. We will make sure we'll answer them or on our YouTube. And if it's any other topics you wanted to know, let us know and we will make another live about that.
Absolutely. And it's funny because this morning I was just thinking, Anastasia is going to be like this book of knowledge because you talk to many of us like in the industry and you always talk to very knowledgeable and amazing artists that I love and respect so much. So you're like a sponge. You're like a book now, an encyclopedia of things. So maybe next year you'll do permanent makeup and
Well,
you'll
to
be
be
like,
honest, I'm in this industry for over 15 years, and I actually, in past, so many artists who was amazing artists who was giving me free machines, we was telling, please come, we will teach you for free. Because in my head, I know everything. I was even help teaching on the latex because I really
I
know
love
about the
it.
hand position, about the pressure. I know how to teach really well, but I never get to work on it because I don't think it's my thing. I don't have so much patience, girl. I rather manage event and have lives and solve problems. But for this work, you really need to have patience and good eye. And I lose my patience quite easily. So if you have 2.5 hours with one person, and if you don't like this person, for instance, or annoying or smelly, or I'm sorry for saying that, I don't know how
No,
I
I
can
get it.
tolerate.
I get it. You really have to love it. But I mean, I think it's great. I mean, you're a great asset for the company because you have so much knowledge. You can support the company in so many different ways. Like when we went to Miami, remember you had the booth and, people come to you with questions and you legitly, you can actually answer questions. So, and sometimes better than people that are in the industry. So
Oh,
I
thank
think it's
you.
great that you know and you don't have to do it. So, but if you ever
Well,
do,
because I'm
I'm
paying
sure you'll
attention
feel
and I'm learning.
amazing.
I'm not just doing this life like kind of, oh, I just wanted to pass. I'm really like listening and I absorb it and I remember. And when you explained it in a certain way, which is really easy, I was like, oh, that's good. That's a good way to explain. Because when as I get questions in Instagram or our social media, so I know exactly now how to answer because of
Yeah,
this life, you know. So it's like I'm always observing that, and I get these notes like, oh, this is a good way. So yeah.
yeah.
Oh, but thank
No,
you for
that's
your
really good.
compliments. You always give
No,
me a lot of
thank
love,
you.
my
Thank you
dear.
for having me. And again, thank you for the patience. You know, life gets in the way sometimes. And I'm very happy that I was able to come here today. I hope this is really helpful for everybody. And if anybody has questions after this live is done, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram account, and I'll be happy to help you as much as I can. I really love my industry, and I really like to share what I know so our industry can be better and grow bigger, and you can feel more confident, because this is, this is how it is. I mean, we're here now, but I don't know how many more years I have to keep working on permanent makeup. You never know.
Yeah.
So
But
while I can do it,
actually,
I
someone
can
said
do
we
it.
see the piano in the back. Yeah, it's mine. I'm the one who's playing. Not as often as I wanted, but yes, that's me. And by the way, don't forget to use
No.
Cecilia code. You have 10% on everything. Use the Cecilia 10 code in shopamia.com. So you have discount on everything what is in there. Don't forget to use it. That's
Yeah,
Cecilia
that's a
10.
good point too. And this is a code that you can use year long. It's, you can place different orders and you get 10% in every order. So you get, if you haven't tried any of the products we have on the website, whether it's a machine or a cartridge or a pigment, this is a good opportunity to have access to it and try them, because I love it. That's what I use all day long. Yeah, it's the Cecilia 10. So THE Cecilia 10. Yeah.